It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros, and Skraby is the Joe.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Two Pros and a Joe starts right now.
The NFL draft is now over. Are you okay, Thomas? I know that you watched every second of that coverage.
Wall-to-wall coverage.
And he's not joking, folks. He's not joking. When he texted me and said, let's do a podcast, I said, all right. So we're, over the next 6 hours, we're going to go through every single pick, Thomas.
Round by round.
Pick by pick.
In-depth analysis, hometown, best friends, everything you need to know about certain players joining a certain team. You're going to get everything broken down on No Pros and Two Joes.
Yes. We are coming to you after the draft, and as Thomas just said, we're going to go deep into it. But actually, if you want deep coverage into the draft, you should not be listening to us because we're not going to give you deep coverage. We're just going to talk about some of the different picks. We're really just going to go through the first round. We wanted to, we haven't talked football in a while. We haven't put out any podcasts in a while, so we wanted to get something done now that we have some cool, big news that happened on Thursday night in the first round. Again, I'm Matt Skraby. This is Thomas Andrews. Our guys, Greg and Marcus, they are obviously not here with us now, but we're working on something soon. So, we all have jobs outside of this podcast, and so it's been hard to get all of our schedules to line up and all of that. But we'll be back with you. It's Two Pros and a Joe soon, but right now, No Pros and Two Joes, recapping the first round of the draft. Let me ask you, Thomas, do you like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday setup? Because I can't honestly imagine them being able to do a full draft in one day anymore.
No, with all the pomp and circumstances and like all the flair that they put into it, I thought it's great what they do, spreading it out. 3 days works perfectly. Thursday, Friday, Saturday works fine. Gives you Sunday a day to like just rest and relax and like, oh cool, there's other stuff on to watch as well. But one of the cool things I thought they did this year, which was something I noticed, towards the end of the draft, they were doing funding on the NFL Network. They were basically, a lot of the analysts were just giving out names of guys that they watched and would hope if they won by it, they would see if their video team didn't have any footage of this guy in college. So that's how they, like, throughout like the last remaining
start
picks.
This over? What? Maybe I accidentally mind wandered.
The NFL analysts that were up on the panel.
So like guys like Daniel Jeremiah.
Yes, so they would throw out a random name of a guy that they had watched.
Okay.
And they would see if the NFL team, like the guys in the truck, had any film tape on the guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I didn't actually watch the draft closely because I was doing the show. I was following the draft for sure, but I wasn't actually watching the draft coverage, so I didn't get to see that. But that was like, towards the later round. So that was kind of, that made it entertaining for the people that, say you don't watch, you care that much. But. Yeah, no, for sure. And this draft was a little bit interesting, too, because there were some players that were drafted that did not play last year because of the pandemic. They opted out of their seasons in college. So this draft really, I want to see what it looks like in 10 years because there could be some guys that were taken in the 7th round that because maybe they didn't play last year, they are, Pro Bowlers now. And Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner, he said, Jerry Jones here, anybody who opted out last year, they lost out on like 700 snaps of improvement. And so Jerry Jones immediately, what does he do with his first pick? Picks a guy that opted out. So I don't know why he said that. He was basically saying he's not going to draft anyone who didn't play last year. But then he drafts a guy with a 12th pick, Micah Parsons, who did not play last year. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Micah Parsons, but, Jerry Jones is just so... He's just so weird.
He probably forgot he said that. Too much Johnny Walker probably during the draft.
Walker. Yeah, he probably did. But so here are some of our thoughts on the first round. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, we all knew was going to go first overall. That was easy to the Jaguars. Now, I know that a lot of people were saying, why did they wait so long on the clock? Because you never know. You never know when a team is getting that wild hair and they're like, you know what, we're going to go big right now, and we need Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to sell the farm for Trevor Lawrence. But no one did that. So the first overall pick went exactly as we thought it was going to go. I like Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he seems to be a good guy. He's a good role model. He's from that area, so it's a good pick for them. What do you think, Thomas?
He seems to be embracing the Jaguars environment so far. We saw like a post last week about the Jaguars organization putting out something to a fundraiser of his that he's been a part of, and he said, he can't wait to start working well together. So I mean, they've known for weeks on end already. But the fact that it finally went down, and to your point, I think them waiting, I think they wanted to soak up the fact that they're the number 1 overall pick.
Why?
That this is one of those life-changing drafts for them.
So they want to soak up the clock?
Yeah.
I know I say crazy things and have crazy reasonings. And that is a Skraby reasoning right there, that they want to soak up the number 1 pick. They were so bad last year that they got the number 1 pick.
Tony Khan seems like a guy who loves a flair for the dramatics. I mean, the guy was going to buy Wembley Stadium just so that his team could play there almost half a season every once, that is
pretty cool.
So
it's Shad Khan, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Tony Khan's his son runs AEW, which is a wrestling company, which I like too.
Is it really connected?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But Tony Khan, I thought you were talking Star Trek or something like that.
No, his son is Tony Khan.
Okay.
So Shad Khan, I'm sorry.
No, Shad Khan, that's okay. So they get the highest prize in the draft. We'll see where that goes. Urban Meyer, head coach in Jacksonville. I'm not a fan of him, but we'll see how the Jaguars do.
He seems like a real good guy.
Urban? Oh, well, they did have Tim Tebow try out again, so they're all good.
As a tight end, finally.
I mean,
only at the age
everybody
of 33.
begged him during his actual playing days to switch to tight end, but he wouldn't because he wanted to be a quarterback, and now all of a sudden he's out of the limelight, and someone needs a little bit of attention, I think.
Did you hear the reports, too, during the draft that Tim Tebow actually lives a few doors down from where Urban Meyer...
That is creepy. That is creepy. I know that. I think Tim Tebow is from Jacksonville, but still, that is creepy. He's like, "Hey, coach,"
just running shirtless by his house. Like, still got it.
Oh my God,
still
that would
got
be
it.
funny
In the rain, like,
with the heart monitor. And he
with a Mets crop top, like, still got it.
Oh yes, absolutely. He has to have something Mets on just to be like, "Hey, coach, I play professional baseball."
Dual sport.
Tim Tebow. Come on, bro. Come on. All right, second pick in the draft went to the Jets, Zach Wilson. He, I don't know about him.
He looks like he just got off a Disney Channel reality show.
He does. His mom's pretty hot, but they look kind of alike, so I can't really get into it. I know that a lot of people on Twitter were like, look at Zach Wilson's mom. She's stealing the draft right now. But if you put them together, it's basically Zach Wilson's face on his mom, and I can't do it. So I don't know. But talking about football, not his mom, I'm not a big fan of this pick. I didn't think that he was that great at BYU. He was in the beginning of the year, but there were some definite flaws that he showed throughout, and I think they could have gone in a different direction and been okay.
The big knock that, like, the headlines when they picked him up was, like, 2019 tape was outstanding. He kind of got banged up a little bit in 2020, and then this last 2021 season, or wait, no, am I thrown off? My dates, 19 to 20, and then 20 to 21. That I guess, or he was hurt. He got hurt one year, so like the durability is the big thing, and he's not the biggest guy, but they did a pretty good job of drafting an offensive line around him last year with Mekhi Becton, which was supposed to be Sam Darnold's guy, and then they later on in the first round they got the guard tackle out of USC, Vera Tucker, who, was supposed to be able to slide in there and protect, solidify that left side for them. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see how Zach Wilson does when, he's got Myles Garrett chasing him down.
I just don't see how he's an upgrade over Sam Darnold. I don't see it. Sam Darnold's coming in on his fourth year maybe, and I'll take a fourth-year Sam Darnold over a raw rookie Zach Wilson any day. They should have kept Sam Darnold and at least made him compete for the spot or something like that. But, former 49er coach
Robert
Saleh, I don't know why I forgot his name. He has his work cut out for him. They're in a really good division. And think about this. The division that they're in has all head coaches that are defensive-minded. You got Bill Belichick of the Patriots, who's like the greatest defensive mind of all time. You have
Flores.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm forgetting all these names all of a sudden. My brain is not working today.
Sean McDermott.
Yeah, you got Brian Flores of the Dolphins, who came from Bill Belichick. You got Sean McDermott, who came from Carolina, who has shown that he's a great coach. And Buffalo's got a great offense. I mean, that is a tall task for those guys in the AFC East for the Jets. Now to the 49ers pick. And they picked Trey Lance. I am a 49er fan. I am not a fan of this pick whatsoever, and it has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that he hasn't really played in the last year and a half. He hasn't played against elite competition.
17-0.
Yes, at North Dakota State. Okay, I'm a Bison, but look at what the other quarterbacks that have come from North Dakota State. You have Easton Stick.
It's got wheels.
I don't even know if he's playing anymore. And then you got Carson Wentz, who obviously he's a good-ish quarterback. He can be. But I think that Carson Wentz is way different. Carson Wentz is also like 6'5", 250. I didn't know Trey Lance was 6'4", 225.
Who's the biggest quarterback in this draft?
I didn't know
size-wise.
that. I did not know that. So I do like that a little bit, but I just don't see why the 49ers had to trade up and give up other picks to select Trey Lance. Like, maybe they could have traded with the Bengals, or maybe they could have moved down to like 7 or something like that. But 3, this screams to me Bears Mitch Trubisky pick, where they went all in and they traded away all their picks to get Mitch Trubisky, and then you had guys like Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson go later in the draft. This is a disaster in my mind, and I'm going to give it a chance. But I am not a fan of this pick. He does not play against Division I competition. He hasn't even played against Mountain West competition. I'm not kidding.
You don't think North Dakota State could give San Diego State a run for its money?
No, I don't. Mountain West, I mean, they're Division I athletes. They're not Division I AA or Division II or whatever North Dakota State is. But I just don't see it. I feel like Kyle Shanahan's trying to outsmart the room, and I feel like it's going to come back and bite him. But I am a diehard 49er fan, and I will give it a chance. Jimmy G reached out for his number right after they selected him. The nice, beautiful man that he is, and welcomed him to the team and all that. The other thing is Trey Lance chose number 5. He didn't clear that with Jeff Garcia.
Legend
in the 49. You're right. He is a legend. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's going to a great place where he's going with right now probably one of the best quarterback coaches. I mean, we've seen C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins thrive under this system. Put up pretty good numbers with bad players. And if you get a lot of guys come back being healthy, I think Trey Lance brings another level of the offense that we haven't seen since Kaepernick there, with being able to run a little bit. So you look at maybe his decision-making. He's got a great tight end. You just hope maybe he doesn't have to play right away. You let him actually sit and learn and, actually have to do the approach. I know that's going to be the big thing is once, Jimmy G gets banged up, maybe week 4, everyone's going to want to see Trey Lance. And heck, that may be the last time we see Jimmy G in a Niners uniform at that point. But I think you got to have to kind of ride with him because at this point, he's Kyle Shanahan's guy.
Yep.
And
he sold his soul for Trey Lance.
Pretty much.
Trey Lance will determine the outcome of Kyle Shanahan's coaching career with the 49ers. And obviously, I hope it works out. I know that Chris Ello, who works on 97.3 The Fan with me, he says all the time he doesn't understand when fans of teams cheer for them to do bad. So I can't cheer for them to do bad. I hope that they do good things going forward. Now, the next pick, the Falcons, they took Kyle Pitts out of Florida, and this is who I wanted the 49ers to draft. I wanted a George Kittle. I wanted a Kyle Pitts.
This
I wanted
isn't the
a
2010 Patriots.
I see, even better. You have a case study on this. You have that. So I really think that the Falcons are going to love this pick. Absolutely love it.
Well, let's hope that we don't get like the regression still of Matt Ryan, because the last few years he's been getting another weapon on offense, and still besides his MVP year, at the end of the year we still look up and Matt Ryan's still only 27 touchdowns. So I think that needs to go up if we want to see that team make any progress this year.
Yeah, but he is a matchup nightmare, and I believe the draft recap that I was reading, the Falcons were the only ones that got an A+ on the draft.
Wow.
So the Bengals selected Jamar Chase out of LSU with the number 5 pick. I like that that pick as well. He came out and said he's going to break every record the Bengals have, and that's some big talk, but if you're confident enough to say it, then go for it, man.
I mean, you figure the last time this guy caught a football was from his now quarterback in the NFL in the national championship. So I like the storylines we're going to have this year going into the year. We've got a few different former college teammates pairing up in the NFL, which I thought was amazing, and it's just cool to see, especially if you're a fan of college football in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
So good for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that is cool. The Joe Burrow and him are going to reunite. Now, the Dolphins pick was a little bit surprising to me. They picked Jalen Waddle out of Alabama as well. People are comparing him to Tyreek Hill, which I could see, but Devonta, whatever the heck his name is, Smith, and I don't say that to make fun of him, but we've had arguments on the radio show about what his name actually is. If you're concerned about his size, which is what they were concerned about, why are you drafting a guy as the Miami Dolphins that is basically the same size, except for Devonta Smith is 6'1" and Jalen Waddle's only 5'10"? I don't understand. Like, listed right now, I'm looking at, Jalen Waddle's 7 pounds heavier. I don't get it.
Well, and you look at Jalen Waddle broke his ankle this year too, and
yeah.
I don't know. It was definitely an interesting pick. I don't understand the hate for Devonta Smith. The guy played 4 straight years without really ever missing time, except for a broken finger in the national championship game where he wasn't even needed at that point. But I think durability-wise, I think all 3 of these wide receivers that we're going to go through and talk about when we get to 10, I think they're all going to have great production early on, and I think it's great that they all went to like different places that we don't have, they're not going to be in the same division in a way, so like we don't ever see the competingness, but it will be fun to watch, if we get a Vikings and Bengals matchup to see Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on the field together.
Yeah, that
again.
would be cool. That would definitely be cool.
Did you see him hit the gritty when he was walking up a little bit?
No, I didn't. The 7th pick of the draft went to the Lions. They picked Penei Sewell. I hope I pronounced that right. Penei Sewell?
Yeah.
He's an offensive lineman out of Oregon. I mean, it's the most boring pick of all time, but everybody says he's the greatest offensive lineman in the draft, so
he seems like a guy that would eat some kneecaps with Dan
yes,
Campbell.
Yes, he would, and good for Jared Goff. He got some protection. 8th pick, Panthers, J.C. Horn, cornerback. Sure. I got no.
Yeah, this was like the first like big question mark, because first it was the first defensive player taken in the draft.
This is Joe Horn's son, right?
Correct. Legendary receiver, Saints. Yeah. Cell phone.
Yeah.
But I think this is great. I mean, last year the Panthers took 7 defensive players in the draft, and now they're just adding to a pretty stellar guys that they had last year come on. So Matt Rule's doing some stuff, and it looks like they're going to ride and die with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that, because they traded Teddy Bridgewater to the next pick, the 9th pick, the Broncos. They took Patrick Surtain. Is it Surtain?
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain, the 2nd out of Alabama. Everybody said that he was probably the best corner in the entire draft. And so corners went quick in the first 10 picks. The next pick was with the Eagles, and they took Devonta Smith.
What they did was they traded up, though. They were at 12.
Did, you're right.
So they traded with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys traded with their in-division rival.
Yeah, that's true. That is, they did do that, and I think it was all to screw the Giants a little bit later in the draft, but I think the Eagles and Devonta Smith is it's a great pick. Jalen Hurts is going to have a good receiver. It's Deshaun Jackson 2.0 in an Eagles uniform.
And that's why I know we're trying not to keep backtracking on that, but that was the biggest hate that I got. I thought, looking out, he's about the same size, height-wise, as Deshaun Jackson, maybe even taller, Devonta Smith, but was 3 pounds lighter. I think he was 166 when he measured in at his pro day, and Deshaun Jackson was 169. So I just think it's very silly that we were throwing all the stuff out, and Deshaun Jackson was still a top pick in the draft. And I mean, he's still playing in the league after year 12, I think.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Or more than that, I
think. There was a lot of trades here, but the next one was a big trade. The Chicago Bears traded up with the New York Giants, and the Chicago Bears selected, hopefully, their quarterback of the future, Justin Fields. This is a great pick for them. I like Justin Fields. If the 49ers were going to take a quarterback, I wanted it to be Justin Fields. But Chicago, they end up with, they did this with Mitch Trubisky. It's not as much pressure because it's not so high in the draft. But at the same time, Justin Fields has to get used to playing with a guy named Matt Nagy.
But also, another meaning about being drafted into the right spot, he gets to sit potentially behind Andy Dalton, who is another great teammate type of guy. And you can learn a lot with that type of veteran guy because, I mean, a guy like him, he's been essentially the medium for quarterback play for the last 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
You can say he's like the, you're either better than Andy Dalton, which kind of puts you, okay.
He's the Mendoza line of quarterbacks.
They call it, in a podcast I listen, they call it the Dalton line.
The Dalton line.
Scale.
I like it. Okay. We'll use that. That's pretty funny. Next pick, the 12th pick, went to the Cowboys. They traded as well, and they took Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State University. A lot of the draft experts didn't really like that pick right there. They said he could have gone a little bit later, but Jerry Jones was probably having his Johnny Walker and got a little excited.
Now he's got 3 first-round linebackers playing for him.
He does. I mean, it's kind of crowded.
And he just had his other former linebacker, Sean Lee, retire. So
that's true. It's kind of crowded in the linebacking core for the Cowboys. With the lucky number 13 pick, the Chargers, they selected offensive lineman Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. I'm going to hand that over to you, Thomas.
Dude's a stud. I think this is probably a pick that they didn't expect to fall to them this long. There was reports that he was going to be the first tackle taken and potentially maybe Sewell reunited with Herbert with the Chargers. But I think this guy, heck of a stud. He's a 4.0 student.
Wow.
Plus, I mean, he went to Northwestern also. So
and
it's a
good school.
Yeah, and opted out last year, didn't play. But, I've been watching a lot of these. Jeff Schwartz has been doing like his own like NFL lineman style, like Gruden camp style thing. And it's been kind of cool to watch just a different take or watch these guys, how they just get into like offensive line, like training for that in a way, and not just lifting weights and doing cone drills and stuff. So it was just it's entertaining for a guy that I don't, you don't like a lot of people that like offensive line play, so it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, not many people pay attention to the offensive line and say this is the reason I'm watching the game, but Thomas is one of those.
It's the reason I like watching the Colts games is for Quentin Nelson.
Oh, okay. We're learning a lot right now.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Elijah Vera Tucker that the Jets drafted, guard tackle out of USC, I think is going to be a stud from them.
Yeah.
Pairing him next to Mekhi Becton, like I mentioned, I think it's going to be Zach Wilson's 2 best friends.
They traded up for this one, too. They traded with Minnesota, so big pick for the Jets. They're going all in on their offensive side of the ball. Now, with the 15th pick, the Patriots did nothing for this. They didn't trade up. They didn't trade down. They just sat there and waited for it to happen. And then Mac Jones out of Alabama. Mac Jones!
Who?
Mac Jones out of Alabama was drafted. I love all the comparisons to the Play 60 kid that told Cam Newton he was going to take his job.
Strum my guitar like
he's just warming up my arm. That was one of the greatest comparisons of all time because it's hilarious. But Mac Jones, Alabama, to the Patriots. They needed a quarterback. They got a quarterback. Thomas.
Couldn't have fell to a better position for him. I mean, the Saban-Belichick connection. I don't think Belichick would have taken a first-round quarterback. Or at least, if he was set on this guy, I think they did the right thing staying put. There was a lot of talk, maybe why didn't they draft up for Justin Fields, especially with the connection that Cam Newton had with him back to their Georgia days. As long as he doesn't have to play right away, let him learn. I think he could be a stud for them, just being able to be accuracy and pinpoint and touch. I know he's not the most athletic guy, so he's not going to be out there running around like Cam will. But given some time, I think with a lot of the pressure because I felt like he was projected to be a top 3 pick and fell to 15. I do think there is some extra pressure that I think he will use for motivation going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a chip on his shoulder for sure. We're going to go through some of these real quick because those are really the big ones that we wanted to talk about. The Cardinals took Zaven Collins at 16, linebacker out of Tulsa. I saw some video of him. Seems like he can hit really hard, and he's pretty good off the edge.
Just a very playmaker type of guy that can move around.
Exactly. 17th pick was to the Raiders. They took Alex Leatherwood, an offensive lineman from Alabama. People really hated this pick.
Because essentially everyone's saying that they stayed put in the first round and drafted a starting right tackle, which could have fell to them in the second round, like the
That's where
value.
He was projected, or even the third round.
But apparently John Gruden and Mike Mayock got their guy that they wanted and are happy about it.
I also heard that in the Chargers draft room when the Raiders selected Alex Leatherwood, there was an audible laugh. Like, no joke.
Really?
I heard that for real. Like that. I mean, that's... A lot of people left, so it's not just the Chargers. The Dolphins drafted again, number 18. They got someone for their defense, Jalen Phillips. He's going nowhere because he came from Miami. But according to this little note I have from CBS Sports right here, it says that he is quite injured. So hopefully he can figure that out. 19th overall pick Jammin Davis?
I think it's Jammin Davis or Hamon Davis.
Hamon Davis? Jammin Davis, a linebacker out of Kentucky.
Guy's a stud when he's on the field. Again, had some injury issues that they were talking about on the broadcast, but it looks like he's plays sideline to sideline, making all those tackles for them. So another first-round pick for the Maroon 4 up front.
The Maroon 4. You got all the nicknames. The 20th overall pick from the Bears. This is the Giants when they switched with the Bears. They took Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Like, who cares? That is a terrible pick. I know that the Giants fans are really excited.
Yeah, but you pair him with a bunch of other offensive guys already on there.
They're the same receivers, all of them. They're all the same receivers. They're short, shifty guys.
Except for
Sterling Shepard.
No, the guy they just drafted, or they signed in free agency, Kenny Golladay.
Oh, Kenny Golladay. They did get Baby Megatron, so Babytron. Yeah, you're right there, but I don't. We'll have to see about that one. I guess I shouldn't be so judgmental. 21st overall pick, Kwity Paye. He was an edge guy out of Michigan. I don't have much on him, to be honest.
I mean, the reason why the Colts lost in the playoffs, they couldn't get to Josh Allen, so potentially just trying to revamp that pass rush.
Now, the 22nd pick for the Titans, why is Caleb Farley a name that sticks out to me?
Because the guy played really well at Virginia Tech, but he's very big too. They're saying like size-wise, he's got super long arms, like a stud when it came to like laying the hammer down on you, like as far as like tackling wise too. But again, the guy's got a history of injuries.
Yes, all right.
That made him fall pretty far.
Oh, okay. That's okay. His name did sound really familiar.
They say that this Titans pick could be one of the ultimate coin flips. Like if they could get a steal, if this guy could stay healthy, or unfortunately could just be a guy that has an issue of,
Man, I love gambling with my first round picks. That sounds awesome.
But isn't that all what the draft is? Isn't every
there's
pick
educated guesses, and then I guess there's reaches. But the next pick was the Vikings. They traded with the Jets, and it was the 23rd pick. They took an offensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. Back-to-back Va Tech guys that went
Christian
there.
Christian
Darrisaw. And my computer just went dead.
We'll move to pick 24. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, Najee Harris.
Yeah, this one a lot of people had circled on there, and I think this guy's going to come in and make an immediate impact just with his receiving skills and the pass blocking. I mean, I know the Steelers got a lot of hassle because they lost 3 starting offensive linemen and didn't do anything to replace them in the early rounds, but I think Najee Harris, a guy like that, can stay on the field, is going to be a problem for them going forward.
Yeah. Next pick, I like that because they got rid of James Conner too. Or James Conner went to the Cardinals. Travis Etienne from Clemson joins his quarterback. First time ever teammates from college have been picked in the first round on the same team. So that happened. So 2 first-round picks for the Jaguars. 26th pick, Greg Newsome II from Northwestern.
First time 2 Northwesterns go in the first round.
Oh, wow, okay. Northwestern's program coming on up. But the Browns always seem like they have a lot of corners for some reason. 27th pick, Ravens, Rashad Bateman, wide receiver.
He wore 0 in college, so if you remember him playing at Minnesota, it was very interesting. But, dude, big body type guy, very shifty, good feet was a big thing. He kind of had a weird season because he was going to play and then started playing a little bit of the season, then opted out due to COVID, and then wanted to kind of come back, but then decided he was going to just get ready for the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
All right. 28th pick, Saints, Peyton Turner, defensive lineman out of Houston.
Another lot of head scratchers from people on that, thinking like who? And they were like, oh, very comparable to Marcus Davenport, who they traded up a few years to get. And people said, oh.
Well, he didn't work out.
Exactly. Who?
Here's one of my favorite picks in the draft right here, number 29 with the Packers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, before the draft, said he was so unhappy he doesn't want to play for them anymore. So what do the Packers do? They draft
get him a weapon?
Another defensive player. They drafted Eric Stokes, a quarterback out of Georgia, so I hope it was worth it for them. Number 30 pick, Gregory Rousseau to the Bills, an edge rusher out of Miami. Good pick for them. They have a good defense, and it just got better. The 31st pick went to the Ravens. Jason Owa? Okay, I should have looked up that before.
Interesting about Owa, you spent a first-round pick on a defensive end that had no sacks last year. And I know all the PFF numbers are there, which a lot of people go off now, like, his defensive hurries, his pressure, his hits. It's at least you're going to a place where they can, they turn out defensive players really well. So
That's
potentially.
very true. And the last pick of the first round, and the last pick we're going to cover today, Joe Tryon to the Buccaneers. He's an edge rusher from Washington. That just makes the Bucs even better.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really need anything on offense, bringing back all 22 starters, and now they added Antonio Brown even before the draft, too, I think. They re-signed, so it's 23 of the 22 starters all coming back. So I think the thing we saw with them, their linebackers are pretty stacked with Devin White and I can't think of his other name right now.
I got all day.
You got all day?
No, I don't actually have all day.
Levante David.
Okay.
So I think the revolving doors of defensive ends they have there with Pierre Paul, Shaq Barrett, and now Joe Tryon.
If Thomas didn't get that name right now, I would have gotten a text later when he did find out about it. So,
I would have called you.
Yeah, he probably would have called me too. All right, that's our first round recap. Hope you enjoyed it. It went a little bit longer than we thought, but Thomas actually had some great information. I just literally read off of a website, but I mean, I did a little bit more than that. I like football. I read about football, all that stuff. I don't know why I'm throwing myself under the bus, but that's it for that's it for No Pros and Two Joes. We're going to be back very soon with an episode of Two Pros and Two Pros and a Joe. I can't believe I just forgot the name.
Whose show is this?
Today has not been kind to my brain, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow us on social media at Two Pros and a Joe, and give us a like on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.